I wanted to know how you and Erica keep a God-centered marriage and a healthy marriage.
Yeah, it's a great question. So, by the way, if you want to get married as your top priority, then the chances are you will. What you make your top priority in life, you likely hit. You think about it, for a lot of young people, their top priority is just to feel good. They make it happen. It's amazing. We are creatures designed by God to have to aim at something, to have a destination, to have purpose. For us, so I'm actually writing a book about this. I'm a big believer in it. I think that everyone here should do this, which is I honor the Sabbath every week. And I encourage everyone to do this. Turn off your phone for 1 day a week. The world will keep on turning and you will be happier. What that has meant for our marriage, by honoring the Sabbath, it makes it easier to spend time with the kids, to go to church, to be with one another, and to kind of have a holy covering around that. And so I encourage all of you guys, you are not so important where you have to have your phone on every single day. Pick 1 day a week. For us, it's Friday night to Sunday morning. I turn my phone off completely. I'm unreachable by the outside world. My mind gets clarified. My body feels better. I'm not going down checking for notifications all the time. And so that's one of the ways we do it. And secondly, it's through spiritual disciplines. My wife and I pray together. We fast together. We go to church together. And men, let me tell you something that you will never forget. When you get married, it is your biblical obligation to bring your family to church on a regular basis. That is the man's role. Now, let me tell you, when you do not do that, and the mom brings the kids to church, that's still okay. But studies show that if the mom only brings the kids to church, the likelihood of the kids falling in the faith is very low. But if the dad brings the kids to church, the likelihood is extremely high. I'm sure a lot of you were raised in families where the mom was very religious and the dad was meh. Who here can resonate with that? Raise your hand. A lot of hands go up. Men, don't create that family for yourself. I know that, you want to sleep in or, you want to watch a football game. Get your act together, bring your wife, bring your kids, and bring them to church. That sets an example for your kids that you value God over comfort.
I'm wondering what your best advice is for young couples with small children on how to prioritize and nurture their marriage amidst the busy day-to-day life of kids.
That's a very good question because your marriage came first. And your husband is very important because your kids, you're raising them to fly. You're raising them to leave the nest. They'll always come back. And once they do, I think that's why people get empty nest syndrome, because they look at their husband in an empty living room and they're like, who are you? I have to relearn you. You want to grow with your husband. That is going to be very acrobatic at times, even if that means locking yourself in a closet with your husband for just an hour to say, can I breathe with you? Can I just 5 minutes? Can I just have a second to look at you? Something that Charlie does that's really sweet that I love is that sometimes, especially when he's traveling, we figure out the dynamic of at least having a date night at least once a month, at least. But there'll be moments where he's literally about to rush out the door and I won't see him for several days. Kids are wreaking havoc in the kitchen, pulling things out all over, and he just grabs me and he's like, 1 minute. And we just literally stare at each other for a minute and say, like, I love you, whatever you need to say, but we have that 1 minute together to reset our hearts. And honestly, that is something that helps recharge the bucket until you get that date night. So just being really intentional about little moments that will build into a greater good for the relationship. But I know
I agree with all that. Just prioritize, obviously, your marriage actually comes before your kids. I know that's a provocative thing to say, but it's true. Your relationship with your kids is important,
yes,
but it's not covenantal.
Right.
Your marriage is a covenant. Your relationship with your kids is an outgrowth of a covenant. They're under your stewardship, but covenantal relationships are ones that we saw with Abraham and David and Israel and, of course, Jesus. That idea of marriage being a covenant is a big, big deal. In fact, only marriage in the Bible is compared to Christ's relationship with the church. Mm-hmm. So always prioritize your marriage.
My parents got divorced when I was a toddler. I have no memory of them together. I'm 21 years old right now, and I got married this past April.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's phenomenal. That's thrilling.
So I've never had a good role model in terms of, marriage with my parents. So I was wondering, what would your best advice be for having a long, happy marriage?
Oh, look, I mean, it's not about you. That's the most important thing that you'll learn really quick. It's about service. It's about, commitment to the other. And this is the thing I always laugh about, when people say men and women are the same. When you're married for like an afternoon, you realize men and women are very much not the same. Right? And so, I mean, a great example is, when a man comes home from work, there could have been a nuclear explosion at work. How was work? It was fine. It was good. Where the wife just will talk about every single detail. It's just the nature, right? It's completely different. And then, Dennis Prager has a really great speech on this that drives the left crazy, which is that men's nature is towards variety, okay? And I think it's very important for wives to just say to their husbands, thank you for being loyal to me. It's a very important thing. A lot of men don't hear that enough, and it drives some women like, I don't want to have to say that. It's like, well, just study a little bit about men's nature and understand how men are kind of programmed towards variety. It's a very important thing. The final thing is just carve time for one another. And so I turn my phone off every Friday night, turn it back on Sunday morning. I'm unreachable by the world, and you just have to focus on another person. The last thing I'll say is this, is social media and phones will do everything it possibly can to get in the way of your marriage. So do what you can to put those aside, silence them, and I wish you a very, very long and happy marriage, and hopefully children sometime soon. And I fully support young people getting married early. I think that's a very important thing. Now, the reason, and people say, well, it's a risk. Why can't I wait till I'm 28 or 30? Because what if it's not the right? Everything in life is a risk. Okay, everything has a risk. But there's also another risk that you have to acknowledge, which is the risk of our thousands of listeners that email me and they say, I'm 35 and I haven't found anybody, and it's too late. That's a risk too. And I can tell you right now, the risk of having despondency or having just kind of regret, that's the better word, that's a risk that some people need to know just as much as the risk of you might not be able to go to Paris every summer.